Thank you so much for joining us today on NakedFoodie.tv. I have a very special guest with me today, my mother.
I'm so excited to be here with the Naked Foodie.
Thank you, and I'm so glad to have you here in my kitchen. Now today we're going to be cooking for you an American classic, one that children love, adults love, and I've been cooking since I was a small child. And it's macaroni and cheese, one of my favorites. So with that being said, let's get started. So the first thing that I've done here is I've gone ahead and I've cooked 1 pound of elbow macaroni pasta. Some people like it al dente. I tend to cook mine a little bit more because I like it to be a little more soft. It sat here for a while because I prepared in advance, so I just put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to keep it moist. And so that's where we're going to start with the base of the dish. Now the first thing we're going to do, Mom, is we're going to add, I know it sounds like a lot, but we're going to add 4 cups of sour cream to our macaroni and cheese. So I'll let you do the honors. You can just scrape all that in there.
I've never put sour cream in my recipe.
Sour cream is actually an integral part of this recipe because it's what keeps the macaroni and cheese really creamy and nice and moist. You never want a dry macaroni. Alright, we'll just set this over here. Now the next thing that we're going to do, I like to just kind of stir it as I go just to ensure that I'm adding the right amount of ingredients. One of the things about macaroni is you really can't mess it up, not unless you over salt it or put in too much pepper, but it's a very versatile dish. And you can really, add ingredients as you please so that it tastes the way that you want it to be. So there we go. We can obviously see that the macaroni and cheese is very creamy. The next step is we're going to add in salt and pepper. Now, I do want to go ahead and warn everybody, this is where you can really mess up the dish. One of the things that my mom taught me when I was a kid is you can always add more salt and pepper, but you can't take it away. So as a rule of thumb, start with less and then you can always add more later. I'm really big into tasting as I go along, which is usually why I'm full by the end of the time I've cooked the dish. So Mom, just add a little bit of salt and pepper. We're not going to measure it, we're just going to do it to taste. Just kind of eyeball it. Alright, that's perfect. Okay, now I like a lot of pepper in my mac and cheese, but as I said, I'll taste it later on after I've mixed everything together, and then we can always add more later. So I'm just going to kind of mix that in a bit. Okay, Mom, so now we've added in salt and pepper, and we've also added in the 4 cups of the sour cream. So the next step is we're going to add in the cheese. Of course, you can't have macaroni and cheese without plenty of cheese. Now, I've made macaroni and cheese over the years with many different types of cheese, but what I like to use these days is pepper jack. The reason I like pepper jack is because it's packed full of flavor and has a little bit of a kick to it. So it's going to give the macaroni and cheese a little extra flavor and it won't be so bland. The next is I'm using a mild cheddar. You can use an aged cheddar if you'd like, but I don't use the vintage cheddar because it tends to be a bit crispy and have those hard pieces in it, which isn't so nice in the mac and cheese. Do you like Parmesan?
Love it.
I love Parmesan as well. That gives the macaroni and cheese an extra flavor. Parmesan has a very strong taste because it's a dry aged cheese, so that goes great in there. Just use it sparingly because if you overdo it, that's all you're going to taste. And then the last cheese, which we'll be topping our macaroni and cheese with, is 2 wheels of brie. And this is really the cherry on top, so to speak. People rave about the brie on top of the mac and cheese. So I'll let you do the honors once again. Please put in some pepper jack, maybe about 3/4 of that. There's no need to measure the cheese. You can just really put it in there to the proportion in which you'd like it to be. Now, like I said, this is a mild cheddar, but if you'd like a bit of a stronger taste, you can use an aged cheddar. That looks so good already. We'll put about half of that Parmesan cheese in here. Now this is a whole bag of Parmesan cheese. It's gonna be about half a cup when it's all said and done, but like I said, you can put a little less, you can put a bit more. Just depends on you. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, now I'll give this a stir for us. Now I've actually made macaroni and cheese before without using any butter, and the reason for that is cheese already has quite a bit of oil in it. And so if you put too much butter and too much cheese, what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of oil on top of the macaroni and cheese when it's done, and it won't get so crispy, and it's going to be too greasy, and we don't want that to happen. So we'll just put in about maybe half of this butter here. You can add it with a spoon right here. And we're just going to mix that in as well. Now, we softened the butter. It's been sitting on the counter for a few hours. If you take the butter right out of the fridge, it's obviously going to be quite difficult to mix into there. You can also use melted butter. Whoops, I just spilt a bit. Like I always say, no worries. In the kitchen, you know, you mess up sometimes, and as long as you know what to do to recover, it's not a problem. Okay, now that is all mixed, but now it's quite dry, even though we have all that sour cream in there. So I always mix in a little bit of milk. I like to use whole milk because it has more fat, it has more flavor. If you'd like to keep your macaroni and cheese a bit lighter, you can use reduced fat milk or skim. Now if you want it to be richer, you can use full fat cream. But I think we have enough for the cheese. What do you think?
I think so.
So we'll just put in a little bit of this whole milk. I'm going to put in about half a cup. I'm going to eyeball it. And if I need more, if I want it to be more creamy, then I'll just add more as I go along. Alright. Now it looks like the macaroni and cheese isn't quite creamy enough yet, so I'm going to finish adding in the rest of this milk here. And that's just going to ensure that as it bakes in the oven, it doesn't get too dry.
Looks much better.
Looks much better. I remember when I was a kid, sometimes we'd have macaroni and cheese out of the box.
Yes. Kids love the macaroni and cheese out of the box.
Kids do love the macaroni and cheese out of the box, and I have to say, I still sometimes have it myself. So even as an adult, once in a while, there's no problem with macaroni and cheese out of the box. To be honest, for our family, macaroni and cheese is really something that we cook around the holidays, either Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's really quite a treat. Okay, so if you look at this here, the macaroni and cheese is now quite moist, and it's ready for the egg to be applied. Okay, so we have our macaroni and cheese mix already ready. So the next step is we're going to pour it into our casserole dish. Now you can use as big or as small as a dish as you want, depending upon how deep you want yours to be. This dish is about 13 inches long. Mom, would you just help me pour this in?
Sure.
All right.
This is going to be so good. It's going to go perfect with our meatloaf.
Oh yes. So Mom, which kind of dishes do you like to cook together with macaroni and cheese when you do cook it?
Well, since we cook it for the holidays, another family favorite is mashed potatoes, corn souffle or corn casserole, and our family favorite, sweet and sour green beans. We can't have a holiday without our sweet and sour green beans.
And my mom does make the best meatloaf. She's actually going to be making it tonight for the family.
Yes.
Okay, so we have the macaroni and cheese now in our dish. The final step is we're just going to sprinkle a little bit more cheese on top, and then we're going to pop it in the oven for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. It really depends on how crispy you like it to be or how creamy you like it to be. So there's a lot of versatility in how you cook the mac and cheese. I'm going to cook mine for about 25 minutes. So let's go. it's the moment that we've been waiting for. Our Brie baked macaroni and cheese is finally done. What do you think, Mom?
It looks fabulous.
I can't wait to taste it.
I can't wait either.
All right. Now when you're serving, make sure you get a little piece of Brie in every serving size because everyone's going to want a piece of that. That is delicious. You can really taste the Brie, which adds a nice creamy, richness to the macaroni and cheese. The Parmesan really adds a lot of flavor as well. And then of course that pepper jack cheese.
I love the spice from the pepper jack.
Gives it a nice kick. So what do you think, Mom? Is this going to be on the Christmas menu this year?
Definitely this year and every other.
And it can be on yours too. Just go to www.nakedfoodie.tv to watch more vlogs, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Naked Foodie Official. We'll see you next time. Yum.
Yum.